Hey everyone, this is Trevor, and thank you for coming to my channel, Pioneer Spirit. If you could please like, subscribe, follow, hit any bell notifications, comments. All comments are welcome. Obviously, positive ones; those are always nice too to get. And constructive criticism comments are welcome too. Hopefully, nothing too ad hominem or negative, but I'll take them all. Take them all. And thumbs up or thumbs down, whatever floats your boat that way. If you could just support the channel that way, be greatly appreciated. Everyone who has supported my channel and the work I do here thus far is greatly appreciated. So thank you very much. Okay, so today's idea that I would like to share. In the past 6 months, perhaps even in the past year, we've had major unions in Canada and the United States go on strike. And the usual demands are the same. It's more money and better benefits and better. Always better. More money, more benefits, more. Am I opposed to that? No. Everybody wants to make more money. Everyone wants better benefits. Everyone wants better working conditions. And that's true. That everybody wants that. But what I want to point out, and this is coming from someone, I myself worked in a union for 20 years. I worked in 7 hospitals here in Canada between Alberta and Ontario from 1996 to 2016. I know what working in a union is all about. Okay? And from my experience, okay, I'm going to tell you right now that I do not think that unions are bad. But what I do promote is the idea of an in-house union. Wherever you work at, you can have an in-house union. So what does that mean? That means that there would be no more giant conglomerate unions, which is kind of funny. Because if you think about it, unions like UAW, CAW, any kind of government unions, SEIU, you just name it. Whatever these giant conglomerate unions, that's what they are now. They have turned into the conglomerate corporations that I think perhaps 100 years ago they were trying to fight against. And now they've just become a parody of themselves. That's exactly what they are. Unions today are just giant corporate conglomerates. And they work hand in hand with those corporations and especially politicians. Because if you look at today, the year 2023, most companies that are in the free market, the union membership is way down. Because I think people are realizing, look, these evil capitalists actually treat us pretty good when we come into work and perform the job they're asking from us. And if you go above and beyond, wow, guess what? We get treated even better. You don't have to kill yourself with a job, but just go in and knowing that, hey, I'm going to get paid on my job performance. Now, I know that, even places that are non-union, there are jobs where people are all getting $20 an hour, $24. Okay, but maybe at the end of the day, someone gets a better bonus check. I run on the theory, and I think it's a fact, that you get paid better by those evil capitalists when you actually put forth an effort. Because what unions do, and especially in these goddamn giant corporate unions, everybody's the same. So if person A, the person over here, they're doing a crappy job, the guy over here, he's doing a real good job, doesn't matter. At the end of the day, they're both getting whatever, $20 an hour, $30 an hour, whatever it is, they're all getting the same. So there's no incentive to keep that company going, and that company that pays your way, pays for you, right? there's just this. It's Austrian Economics 101, and I highly recommend if you are, you're trying to find your way and learn about unions, or you are a union rep. I highly recommend you go and study Austrian economics, or at the very least, Chicago economics. Ay, ay, ay. So, unions, that's all they are today. Giant conglomerates working hand in hand. Yeah, they pretty much, they'll work in hand with the giant conglomerate. I'm not a big fan of mega corporations either. I do feel that they treat employees better who are non-union. Okay, but still, I'm not a fan of giant conglomerates. Point being, I am a trucking enthusiast. You look at the trucking industry, and it's just riddled with mega corporations who don't care who's behind the driver's seat. You're a bloody number. And this is why I'm an advocate for the owner-operator and small operations that have, 100 tractor trailers or less. Small businesses. So trucking, I'm not a fan of unions either in the trucking world. Again, I think if a company's going to hire people and they perform well, they're delivering from A to B the best they can on time, great with the customers, I'm going to pay them well. So I think the end of giant mega corporate conglomerates should be coming to an end, but it's not. But to get back to the unions. So again, they're giant conglomerates. And this is where, the title of the video, Unions in Times of Emergency. Okay, because through my whole, before Mr. 19 came around, so before 2020, it was just always understood unions, okay, they're going to go in, negotiate. They'll ask for 100 things, knowing that they probably might get 50 things or whatever. They always ask for more, right? That's just negotiation. But it's what I have experienced now with unions, because I still have many friends in the healthcare field and elsewhere. I mean, obviously, I pay attention to everything that goes on in the world as much as I can, is that unions completely dropped the ball in this time of emergency. During, Mr. 19, since 2020, the first couple of years of it, you had a lot, I would say probably 90% of all union members were like, maybe we'll get the jab. Maybe we'll get the Mr. 19 jab. Maybe we won't. There's probably like at least 10% of hardcore people that'll just fall to their knees and do whatever the politicians say. But I think for the most part, most union workers are like, hey, we might get it, we might not. Let's just see where this is going. And let's, maybe make it voluntary. And then the politicians are like, nah, we want 90% at least. So they want 100% of us to all take the Mr. 19 jabs. And unions are like, I don't think so. And then the politicians are like, hey, you know what? We're going to mandate it that you need it to have a job. Okay, so this is where unions, you fuckers, drop the ball on it. Between Canada and the United States, millions. It's got to be millions of people that were like, hey, it shouldn't be mandated. Like, it shouldn't be involuntary servitude. That's what it is, involuntary servitude to your job. Because guess what? Everybody likes to eat, right? Everybody wants to eat. They want to have a home, a car, vacation, some disposable income, whatever. But when the government stepped in and said, nah, this has got to be mandated, this is where the fucking unions, you bunch of assholes, drop the ball on all your union members. And this is where now I am completely 100% against any big fucking corporate unions. Because you cocksuckers dropped the ball. And I am angry. Rightfully so, though. Because so many of your members didn't want to take the Mr. 19 jab, but were forced to. Because guess what? You got to put the food on the table. You unions should have stood up to the politicians. But because you are hand in hand in bed with politicians, because you're a giant corporation, you completely drop the ball with your members. Yeah, you guys go on, oh, we're going to get you a big raise. We're going to get them pensions even better, all your benefits. We're going to make it better. Yeah, you always say that. But in times of need, when you guys really should count, you guys drop the ball. I know so many people that were forced to take a medical procedure to keep their job. You guys should have stood up. And I would have been like, oh my, man. My opinion of unions would have completely turned around and would have meant, you guys, that's what you're there for. That's what you're there for. You guys are there to help your members in all situations, not just to get the raise. That's a freaking no-brainer. Everybody wants more money. Everybody needs more money. Hell, I need more money. Everybody needs more money. But where in the hell are you guys when the goddamn world was falling apart? You guys were powerful enough to stand up to the government. But then maybe that's why you didn't stand up to the government, because most unions today are all, guess what? Public sector workers. You're all government employees. You know, it was such a huge failing, and I'm not gonna give this up. I hope when my beard is completely gray and I'm old, I can still talk about how this was a travesty on humanity. This should be considered a crime against humanity. What unions did to their members, sold them out, threw them under the bus, said, oh, well, politicians, they say it's a mandate, got to get it, you want to keep your job. Not just one jab, we're talking 2, 3, 4 jabs. Medical procedures. It's supposed to be in the Geneva Convention, something about, you shouldn't have to get these kind of medical procedures if you don't want them. Here's another thing, too. I talk about the 20 years I worked in 7 hospitals here in Canada. Not once did I take a flu shot. I'm no goddamn hero for not doing that, but it was always voluntary, and I decided never to take it. If I felt sick, I probably had the flu a few times. I stayed home for 2-3 days if I had to. That's all we always used to do before 2020. You just get sick, you stay home. How many times would you run into a friend or coworker or at the grocery store and you'd be like, geez, man, you don't look good. They'd be like, yeah, I've been home for a couple days. I think I got the flu. And you'd be like, oh, okay. Take your vitamin C, drink lots of water, take another day off. Nobody got panicked. I never panicked in my 20 years. What did I work through up to 2016? SARS, Ebola, Zika flu. Every year there was influenza. I mean, I worked through everything. Okay, worked in an operating room. Worked in a delivery room, an emergency room. I worked in almost every department you can think of in a hospital for 20 years. No, not that I'm saying I'm a hero, because it should be voluntary. You want to get an influenza shot? That's fine, it's up to you. But it was never forced upon us to keep your job. Okay? Never forced upon us to keep your job. Think about that. But then all of a sudden that Mr. 19 came around. You want to keep your job? You got to take this now. Jab is mandatory. And so this is where we needed the unions. In times of emergency, unions should have stood up to the politicians and said, no, you can't make this mandatory. This is going against Geneva Convention policies. This is going against common sense. It's a crime against humanity to force someone to have a medical procedure to keep their job. It was a crime against humanity. What unions did allowed politicians ramrod these mandates for Mr. 19 onto everybody. You guys could have stood up in solidarity, because you hear that from union reps all the time. Solidarity, comrades. Oh yeah, okay, solidarity when we're going in for, negotiations and stuff for more money, more benefits. Where were the fuck you guys and gals? Where were you? Where were you on this? And I'm not going to ever let this go. You guys need to be held accountable. And I'm thinking next year or two, politicians should be held accountable too. In at least the ways of voting. Get these mother effers out and replace them with some stoic, common sense politicians who have hopefully an IQ of at least 120 or higher. And not all these, there's too many Justin Trudeau politicians of the world being let in and leading us around by the nose. Perhaps that's a topic for another day. But I do add the politicians into this problem that union members had during the Mr. 19. And, still rumblings every once in a while, still here in October 2023 of, there might be some more Mr. 19 mandates. Oh, my God. You people need to just stop it, okay? Just stop it. You can't mandate freedom. You can't mandate, you want a healthy, prosperous, happy society, happy citizens, then you got to make things voluntary. You cannot mandate. You cannot mandate those things. You can't even mandate happiness. You can't, but you can make mandates to make people unhappy. So where were you union reps? Any union reps watching this video, comment below. Probably not going to be very happy with me. But I'd like to know, and then tell me what union you're working for too. Is it an in-house union with 500 employees or 100 employees or 10 employees? Or is it one of these giant conglomerate corporate unions, CAW, UAW, whatever other union that you represent tens of thousands of people? Tell me which one you work for. I suspect there aren't very many in-house unions left. If they're, you're all been gobbled up and turned into the big corporate giant unions. So where were you guys? Because I sure as hell know a lot of people that had to take the Mr. 19 jab to keep their job, and the ones that absolutely stood up and said, I will not take it. I will not take it. They got fired. They got let go. Where were you guys when that was happening? Okay? That's all. Hope everybody's doing well. Stay free. And thanks for coming to my channel and supporting me. Hope everybody's well. Bye-bye.